Hi everyone, Chelsea Tucker here from juniorchelsea.com. Glad that you're here today. Make sure that you're liking, subscribing, commenting, the whole bit. It does help push things out and say, hey, we like her, and it gets me in front of more people. And I still can't get this whole subscribing thing down in that 3-part thing. Oh, we'll get it at some point. Okay, some point. The point of today's video is a little bit of a story time, something for probably many of you people to relate to. So I, as a child, was a special education student, and I was put in these classes because something was kind of like a red flag for my mom. My mom was like, hey, Chelsea needs some extra help. How do we get this ball going? So she advocated for me and got me into those classes and got me some resources that I needed. Now, the whole thing was that I was labeled with auditory processing. So essentially what that is, in short, okay, now you can go Google this stuff and like there's tons of information on it. But what it is you're talking to me, my brain's processing what you're trying to say. So it's coming to me and I'm asking what, like, cause like I wasn't done processing it yet, but you're looking for a response already. So I just automatically say like, oh, like, what did you say? So that you can start again. But while you're repeating what you're saying, I'm then responding back to you. That's in short, like the thing. There's a whole lot more to it, but that's the gist of it. So I went from a former education student and I went to regular classes, to college, and now a business owner. Now how? What? That doesn't even make sense, right? Like it's not typical what I did, right? Like it's not the norm. I like essentially broke statistics, if you wanted to be accurate. I went from special education classes, and in high school, I said, well, I want a family and I need a job to be able to provide for my family. And, you know, I'm just thinking pretty logically. So how do I get out of these special education classes into regular ed classes so that then I can go to college to make the money that I need to make? Because, you know, if I have a piece of paper, I can get a pretty good job, right? Well, that's what school was telling me. So I was like, okay, well, you guys know what you're talking about. Let's do this. So here we go. I was in special ed classes my freshman year of high school. I said, well, I'm getting out of these classes because this is for the birds. Like I can't stay here and expect to go to college. It's not possible. I won't level up. So went into regular ed classes and I did really good. Like, I mean, it took me a lot of extra work. Like, I mean, I would sit at my dining room table at my grandma's house, which is where I lived growing up. And man, I would study. I would work really, really hard. If you were to take somebody who could receive information on a regular basis, okay, them versus me, like I spent 2 and 3 times the amount of time that they spent on homework. Okay, if you were to like compare, because of my whole auditory processing thing, okay, like processing the information, really trying to understand and absorb this stuff, where other people were generally pretty good at regurgitating. So like they would learn it, you know, they get the test, regurgitate it, and then be done with it. Well, me, it was more along the lines of like, okay, well, I need the information, so I'm going to learn the information. I'd hold on to like certain pieces, and then maybe I'd still get like a 75 or 80. Anyways, here we go. So in high school, regular classes, then it was like, okay, well, how do we do this whole college thing? I was like, I don't want to be in debt for forever. I don't want to do that. I know that I need an education. How do I get an education in the most affordable way possible, but the most valuable education? So what I did was I went to community college first. And even when I went into community college, I had to do a few like pre-classes, like to get myself up to par, because that's how far behind I was in this whole educational thing. And it sucked, but I don't regret it at all. I learned so much. Okay, so I went to community college first. I got, you know, my associate's degree. And when I was at community college, I knew that I wanted to go to the College of New Jersey because I wanted to teach. And I was like, okay, well, how do we make this transition? How do we do this? Okay, well, you file paperwork. Like, do things decently and in order, you know? I mean, they said, okay, well, if you keep your grades here, the transition process, there's nothing to it. You'll just be accepted. Okay, cool. Sign the paper. Here we go. So after I was like 2.5 years because I had to do pre-classes and I did summer classes too. Like I didn't take time off, guys. Like I busted my butt. Not only during this time of college did I bust my butt in my educational part, but I also worked full time almost at a restaurant at nights. So like Wednesday through Sunday night, I was working. Like I would go to class, then I would go to work so that I could provide for myself. Check out my how I bought my first house by the age of 24. I think most of that story is in there. This story is about how I went from special ed to business owner, which I guess, I don't know, my financial story is pretty much how I did that because, well, that's part of my story. Anyways. Okay, where was I? College. Okay, went into college. Now, the cool part here, I had a few issues with a couple teachers when I went to TC&J. Now, if you've been in college, you can understand that the pace of the information is pretty quick, okay? Now, somebody with auditory processing, I cannot process as quickly. One of the things that really I don't do well with is timed quizzes. Nope, I do not do good with them at all. Primarily because I'm thinking about the time rather than actually applying my work. It's not a healthy, conducive thing for me. I don't like them in general, but like as somebody with a disability, it sucked. I didn't like it. And so here came the cool part. I said, well, I have this paperwork and it's a legal binding document. I had an IEP. Boom. Individual Education Plan. Wow. This document not only applied to me when I was in high school, but it then also applied to me when I was in college. I didn't need it when I was in community college because for some reason most of my teachers there were pretty like communicative with me and like helped me out. Some of them not so much, but I mean you get that, you know. But I didn't feel the need to like go get this piece of paperwork. I had a really hard time at TC&J with specifically one professor. I went back, I got my paperwork, and she was obligated by law to follow my IEP. Mind blown. Boom. You never know. Advocate for yourself. That's the whole premise of this. Make sure that you're able to get what you need, when you need it, and how you need it. But in the right way. In the right way is key. Because you can lose your patience. Don't do that. Don't do that. Okay, so here we go. I'm in college and I'm busting my butt. At TC&J, I'm still working nights. And then I'm also trying to work at like a daycare center in the morning because that looks good on my resume because I'm trying to go into teaching. Man, exhausting. So daycare thing, then, you know, like a before school program, then my schooling, right? And then work. Man, it was a mess. But it prepared me for who I am today. Okay. I think the most stressful, like short, quick period of time in my life was when I was in my senior class and I was living in Maple Shade at the time. Okay, we're talking New Jersey here, people. I don't care where you know where you live, it doesn't matter. I was in Maple Shade, okay? And then I would have to drive all the way to Hamilton, do my internship. Now, when I was doing my internship, now this is 5 days a week, okay? I'm full-time, like I'm shadowing a teacher, I'm teaching myself, like, it's like, you could say I was a full-time teacher, okay? I was doing that. And then I not only did that, but then I had my bag packed for Longhorn, because that's how I provided for myself. Ooh. Talk about stress. But I mean, there were days like I literally sat in my car and I cried because I was so stressed. But I'm still here. You know what I mean? Like that's the whole point of this. Sometimes you have to apply the pressure in order to make a diamond. Hello, pressure diamond. Here I am. Anyways, you can't give up on something. Like I was so dedicated to this whole teaching thing. I was so dedicated to it. And in the state of New Jersey, like you weren't making bank teaching. No. Like if you were teaching in like an urban area, you were maybe starting out at like 50,000. What is that? What is that to raise a family on, right? I mean, you can, but what about daycare? I have 4 kids. If I was sending all 4 of my children to a daycare, would I even have a paycheck? I don't think so. No, it'd all be gone. How would I pay for my house? How would I pay for my groceries? How would I do all that stuff, right? So I had to give up teaching. I gave up teaching. I gave up teaching when, like, in the public school system, when I had my first baby. And I started looking into daycare, and they wanted a pretty good amount of money. I think it was like, I don't know, $300, $400 a week. And I'm like, man, I'm giving you so much of my paycheck, like, and then I still have my house stuff to do. What is that? I can't do that. That to me, as an educated woman, the numbers don't make sense. So I took a deep breath. I said, I'm gonna do this. This is what I'm gonna do. I am going to stay home with my baby and I'm going to work at the restaurant. So my husband would go to work, come home, and then I would go to work. And that was our cycle for a little bit. Yeah. And it broke my heart. And then I found the internet. Here we go. Teacher Chelsea. Ah! So I get to teach. My wildest dreams are come true. And the coolest part now is that I get to help so many more people. Hence the reason why you need to be subscribing. You need to be liking and commenting so that YouTube wants to say, hey, we like her, and I get to see more people to help more people. And that's the whole point of Changing Your Chelsea, because I know what it feels like to be in a place where it's not conducive. Like you are just standing still. Ooh, and it hurts and it's annoying, but no longer, because I'm here to give you information to the best of my ability, and anything that I have life experience with, I will help you with. But I have to have experienced it, and if I haven't, I will not talk on it. And hopefully someday in the future, I will be able to create this beautiful team where I will have people who have life experience in all areas, and they're gonna be able to be like, I know how to help you, and you're gonna be like, yes. So I will talk to you guys next time.